A lady called in. She was like, hey, I had this weird looking transaction. So you mean this charge, it says it's OnlyFans. It did not go through her card. Wink, wink.
And he grabs the drink. That one right there. Like, his drink was like 4 or 5 orders down.
What gives these customers the audacity? Hey guys, I'm Elijah.
And I'm Tina.
And this is
The Brooks Podcast.
And today, well, it's technically we're about to recording. We're very tired. but anyway.
I'm just a little delirious right now.
It's okay. I'm running on caffeine. Work horror stories.
This is going to be a fun one. I can feel it.
Because we have both worked in customer service. And customer service is horrible.
Customer service is horrible.
I did not like it. I don't like it. I went to manufacturing for a reason. Because at least now I work with metal and I can hit it with a hammer if it doesn't act right. I cannot do that with humans.
You can't do that with people, for sure.
No, I go to jail.
Well, I know, like, we're going to be talking about, like, our customer service horror stories, but I actually do have a story from my first ever job at Target. I have a couple of stories, actually.
Well, would you like to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start us off. So the first one is not a customer story. It is a Tina is an idiot story.
Oh, so this is just your dumb.
Yes, this is just me being dumb. Okay, but it wasn't entirely my fault. I was very poorly trained, okay?
Well, that's fair.
So I get hired at Target, right? Good old Target. First job ever. I'm like 15, 16, maybe, okay? And first of all, it was really annoying because I wasn't allowed to sell alcohol. So every single time anyone came through my line with alcohol, I had to get a manager to come over and approve it because I couldn't ring it up. Like, I literally physically could not ring it up. They wouldn't let me. Like, I had to have manager approval. It was stupid. Uh-huh. So I remember there were lots of customers that were like so mad because during like Thanksgiving, Black Friday, Christmas, like I worked all the holidays. During all the holidays, whenever I was on the register, they put a sign on my line saying no alcohol in this line. So I had the shortest line out of all the other cashiers because everyone was buying alcohol.
Everybody trying to get lit.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. Oh, that poor baby.
Okay, so the dogs decided to join us.
So I was working at Target, okay, and they were mad because they couldn't come through my line with alcohol because I was severely underaged.
Of course.
And then the thing that kind of started off my Target experience is whenever I got hired, I was hired as a cart attendant. So I was one of the people that would take the cart manager, like the machine thing.
Yeah.
And I would take that out and gather up all the carts. Whenever I first got there, they said they hired me as a cart attendant, but they trained me on the cash register first. So I learned the register, got it good. And then it was time for me to train in cart attendant. And this is what I was supposed to be primarily doing, was cart attendant. Okay, so I show up one day and they're like, okay, you're training for cart attendant. So they had like the little like manager guy, like the lead guy of the cart attendants train me. Okay.
Yeah.
And whenever I say he trained me, I mean, he lectured me for about an hour about how to do the job and then took me outside for maybe about 30 minutes to show me how the machine worked. And then took me back inside because there was a huge rush and they needed me on the register. So I had to go back to the register. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So that happens. So then I show up the next day thinking I'm training for cart attendant. Okay. So, and the guy's name, I think his name was like Curtis or Carl or something. It started with a C, I remember. But I showed up and like I went and like put all my stuff up, got myself ready for the day, walk out there, and then I'm looking around and I'm like, hey, where's the guy? And they were like, he's off today. What are you talking about? And I was like, I thought I was training. And they were like, you trained yesterday. And I was like, yeah, for all of an hour and a half of my 8-hour shift. I don't know what I'm doing. And so everyone was like no one knew what to do. But they literally gave me an hour and a half of training. And by training, I mean he showed me how to press buttons on the remote for the machine, and then like sort of kind of told me what I was supposed to do, but like not really.
Yep, sounds about right.
Okay. So
that sounds like middle management.
And just to put it in perspective to you, okay, I was like 16. Okay, so I'm really not that smart at this point in my life. Okay, this is my first ever job.
Fair.
So they were like, well, I mean, just do what you know how to do, and like we'll get through the day. It's only like 4 more hours until like whoever was supposed to come be the cart attendant next. Like so 4 more hours until they come in, and then you can go back to register. And I was like, okay. So I go outside, I take my little cart manager out there. Okay. I start putting carts on there. And then I, was using the cart manager to get the carts back inside to the front of the store. So on the remote for the cart manager, you have a turtle, which means it's going to go slow. And then you have a bunny, which is like medium speed. But then you have a bunny with a bunch of squiggly lines around it, meaning it's fast, jackrabbit fast. Okay.
Vibrating bunny.
Yes. It is like a bunny on speed. So I'm getting more comfortable with it. I was on the turtle, right, to begin with. But then the turtle was just a little too slow. So I decided to use the bunny. And then I was doing fine. I was feeling a little bit more comfortable. And, I was getting really good at like maneuvering the carts around because, you have to kind of swing that sucker wide. Yep. But I was getting them lined up. I was getting the rows because it's like the width of the like little spot in Target that you have to put the carts. If you bump the carts up right next to each other, like without them being too close together, but if they're like right next to each other, you can fit 7 rows of carts in the little space. The first time I tried it, I only got 5 because they were a little too far apart. But they were like, no, you got to get the carts closer together. You can fit 7 rows. So I was like, okay. So I finally get used to like how to do it or whatever. So then I'm doing this for a few days. I'm getting more and more used to it. I'm like, taking carts. I'm like taking the big rows of carts off the wall and bringing them inside. Like, I mean, I am killing it. Okay. Or so I thought in my head. I'm killing it. Okay. I'm doing so good. So then there was this one day I went out, I was getting some carts and I was like, hey, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty good. And I was like, the difference from turtle to rabbit wasn't like super bad. Okay. And I was like, it made it like a little bit faster, Yeah. So I was like, I feel like I could go faster. And in my brain, I was thinking if it just increases in speed the way it did from turtle to rabbit, from rabbit to speed rabbit, I was like, I'll be fine. So I'm going down the parking lot with my whole thing full of carts, and I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna go speed rabbit. Bad idea.
Rabbit was on cocaine.
Oh, on crack cocaine times 20. It was so bad. I immediately lose grip of the carts. I was at the front of the carts. I immediately lose grip of them because it started going so fast. So then I hit the emergency stop button. But that's the thing, is that the carts aren't like strapped. Like literally the only thing keeping them together is the fact that the cart manager is moving with the carts.
Yep.
And I'm holding the front of the carts. Okay, but I am no longer holding the front of the carts because I've lost my grip. And then I hit the emergency stop button on the cart manager. So now every single cart that was on there separates and starts going every direction in the parking lot. I was terrified. I was terrified for my life. So I start grabbing the carts and pulling them back, and I'm running. Okay, I'm running. And then the cart that was on the very end was just gaining speed down the parking lot, and I was like, "Oh God, I can't."
Was the parking lot on a hill?
Yeah, it was.
Even better.
It's just gaining speed down the parking lot. I mean, it wasn't a massive hill, but it was kind of like it had dips or whatever.
It's still a slope.
But it was on a sloped area for sure, and it's heading straight for this really, really, really nice like SUV white car. Like if this cart even touched it, you would be able to tell because it was pristine. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I'm freaking out.
And to preface, she also lived in a more upper class area.
Yeah, this was right around Charlotte. It wasn't in Charlotte, but it was on the outskirts of Charlotte. Yeah. So, but it was like, oh, it was crazy. So I'm panicked, okay? And I see this cart heading straight for this really nice car. So, in my brain, the only logical thing to do was to run at full speed at this cart. And instead of just grabbing the cart and like yanking it back, I just decided that I was just going to throw myself between the cart and the car. So, the cart didn't impact the car, but I most certainly did. And the owner was inside the car. So that was a really fun thing to explain to them because they got out yelling how they were going to sue me and sue Target if there were any scratches on their car. And I was like, I can assure you the cart did not hit your car. And he was like, well, what was that loud thud? And I was like, that was
my body
protecting your car. It was a whole thing.
My thing is, why is someone so upset the fact that they're like, I'm going to sue you and Target?
It's close to Charlotte. And can I reiterate that this car was pristine? Like, definitely very well upkept and, like, clean. Probably had a fresh paint job on it. Like, it was a pristine, like, SUV car. And it was, like, one of those nice ones, too. Like, it was like a BMW.
But also never seemed like he had any kind of sympathy towards you at all.
Well,
none.
After I told him that it was me protecting his car from the cart, he did calm down a little bit. But it was very much guns blazing at first. Like, eventually everything was fine, but he was very upset in the beginning. But I think he thought that a cart hit his car.
Yeah.
But it was whatever. But then there was another Target story. This one does involve a customer. So Target would frequently run, and this was me on register. I was so much better at register than I was the card attendant thing because register was so easy. But I'm sitting at the register and I'm bored out of my mind. It's a slow day, okay? But Target usually runs these like promotions where if you buy like 2 packs of this coffee, you get a $5 gift card. Or like if you buy 3 packs of this, then you get a $10 gift card. Like they did stuff with free gift cards all the time.
Yeah.
And so this one guy comes through, and because the way it works is because there's no way they run so many promotions. There's no way for us to remember all the promotions they're selling. So usually what happens is you have like a little sheet that they give you in the morning of all the promotions that are going on at the moment. But also whenever you ring up these special items that get gift cards, like the register will tell you scan a gift card to load the money onto it.
Uh-huh.
So this guy comes through, and he comes through. I mean, he must have had like 20 bags of this like particular coffee brand. And I like scanned them all through, and it told me to scan a gift card. So I scanned a gift card. And so I'm like, your total is like such and such. Here's your gift card. And he's like, why only 1? I'm supposed to have 5. And I was like, what? And he was like, it said if you buy, I can't even remember how many bags it was. I think it was like 3 or 4 bags. If you buy like this amount of bags, you get a $5 gift card. And I was like, well, it only allowed me to ring up one. And so he was getting like really frustrated, and he was like, well, I put 20 in my cart, so I should get 5 gift cards. And I was like, well, I think maybe it's just because we put them all on the same bill. Like, let me void this, and then I can just bring them up individually, and like you'll just have to pay for each transaction. And he was like, no, I don't want to do that. I want you to give me my gift cards. And then he started speaking in another language, because like he was foreign, and he started speaking another language, and started like, he had like another person with him. He started yelling at them, like pointing at me. And then the other person started yelling at me, but like in a language that I couldn't understand.
Of course.
And it was just a whole thing. And so I was like, I'm going to call my manager over. So I like hit my little light for my manager to come over. And my manager at the time was this wonderful lady who was she was either from like Jamaica or Barbados. Like, she was from the islands. Okay. She was the most beautiful woman I've ever laid my eyes on. Like, she was majestic, and she most definitely was not the nicest person ever, but she was kind. I don't know how to explain that. Like,
you can be kind without being nice, I think.
Yeah, like she was very kind and like pretty considerate, but whenever it came to like having a nice personality, she was very much like cut to the chase, like, this is how we're going to do it, like,
yeah,
you know, that kind of person. But I loved her. She comes over and she tells this man the exact same thing that I told him, which was, you can only have like one per transaction. If you want all 5 gift cards, you're going to have to ring them up separately. And he just was having none of it. And he looked at her and called me the B word, and he was yelling at her, called her the B word. And so then she like grabbed all of the coffee that he had brought and like literally just shoved it off the counter into the floor, like behind our counter, like on our side.
Yep.
And was like, all right, so we're going to take these back. We're going to go put those back, and you're going to leave our store. We're not going to serve you. And I was like, what's happening? This was like my first like interaction with another human being where someone was like yelling at me. And I was like, what is happening right now? I had to excuse myself too, because I definitely went to the bathroom and cried after that.
Yes, your default emotion is cry.
Yeah, for anything. I'm happy, I cry. I'm sad, I cry. I'm angry, I cry.
No, speaking of angry people, so I will tell one of my banking days. So I worked in a call center for a credit union, which ironically the same credit union whenever I met you.
Mm-hmm.
But so we had people calling all the time, and we're credit union, we deal with people's money. People are very irrational when it comes to money. I'll borderline say they're dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So, because you had 2 instances. One instance, person calls in and says, "Hey, I feel like I'm missing money." I will literally read through with them all transactions. Like, I'll read through like 20 transactions. And I'm like, "Hey, I read through all of these. Do these sound like what you did?" And they're like, "Yes." I'm like, "Then the balance is correct. Unless you can go into your statements and find something that is incorrect, then your balance that is showing is correct." Which I couldn't tell them the balance, but I could confirm if what they were seeing is what I'm seeing. So like, if they could tell me a balance, and I could be like, yes or no.
Which is so weird. Like, if you're working at a bank, why could you not tell them the balance?
It was the way the credit union was set up. I don't entirely know. It would have solved so many problems for me if I could have told them.
Yeah.
It would have solved like a lot of problems, but I couldn't.
Maybe it's something about, well, I was like, maybe it's something about being like an authorized user or something, but you have to answer all those like security questions before you can even like tell them anything about the account.
Yeah, pretty much. So I'm not entirely sure. But the fun ones came with when you had a couple, like a husband or a wife, that would call in about a joint account.
Oh.
That was when it got fun.
I know where this is going. This story.
Well, there's two kind of different versions. So on one version, which keep in mind this is 2020. Yeah, which I was still in the branch at the time. Because for whatever reason I had to like go into the branch, and then later they transitioned us to work from home. Well, I was still in the branch at the time, and a lady called in, I think probably about 9 o'clock or something like that, and she was like, "Hey, I had," she was like, "Hey, I had this weird looking transaction for X amount. Can you take a look at it?" I was like, "Sure." So I pulled up her account. Now I technically cannot go into the other person's account. I can only go into hers because her husband was either at work or somewhere, God knows where. Well, so I pulled up her account and I was like, okay, this is, I was like, so you mean this charge, it says it's OnlyFans? And she was like, it, of course, I knew what OnlyFans was.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't going to tell nobody I know what it was. But she was like, what is that? I was like, well, I'm really not sure. And while I'm talking to her, I pulled up this other system where I can put in just her card and see if it went through her card or not. It did not go through her card. I said, well, I'm not entirely sure what that is, but I looked it up and it looks like it did not go through your card. Wink, wink. I did not say wink, wink.
But it was kind of like...
kind of a nudge in the right direction.
It was like, it didn't come from your card. It had to have come from somebody else's.
It wasn't on your card, but I do see there's this person on the account. You can maybe talk to them. Knowing full well that is her husband because he had the same last name.
Yeah.
So you had those situations, which, let's be honest, I kind of loved them because it caused chaos.
Yeah, but also it's like, how do you even do that? Like, how do you like make a purchase like that and try to hide it from your wife, but it's like on your bank statement?
The same way this next story does. So now this is technically not a customer that I dealt with. This was one that my buddy did. So, because this was before I was even hired. I want to say he took this call probably 2019, 2018. There was a lady on the phone and she was like, hey, there's this weird charge, and was like, can you take a look at it? And it was a hotel charge, or it was either a hotel charge or a hotel reservation fee or something to do with a hotel. And when we typically pull it up, it'll show the name. It'll normally give you the city or whatever and a contact number or something like that, depending on how it showed up. Well, she was calling and he was like, hey, it says it's for this hotel and it's not a charge that went through your card, but it's a joint account. And the lady literally told him and said, I think I know what this is. Is it in X city? And he said, yes. She said, that's the city my sister lives in, and my husband said he was going on a work trip.
Her sister?
Her sister. I was like, ooh.
Her sister?
So she promptly hung up the phone.
Yeah.
Which,
But her sister, though, bro, men are kind of dumb sometimes.
I ain't that dumb.
Love you, but
I ain't that dumb.
Man. But I'm over here thinking, I'm like, man, how do you put a charge on your account trying to hide it from someone?
And you put the charge on a joint account.
And you put the charge on a joint account. But then I remembered that I did the exact same thing with Monopoly Go that one time. So I really don't have any room to talk. Except mine's a lot more innocent than hotel
It is more
charges.
innocent, but this woman still spent $50 on
I
Monopoly
didn't
Go.
mean to. It just kind of happened. It was just, this was $1.99 and this was $2.99, and you could get 80 more rolls if you buy the $4.99 pack. And I $2 myself to death that
Yeah,
day.
because I literally had one day that I looked through the accounts every couple of days, and I just seen a $50 charge, and I was like, from what? And I went into her phone and seen it. I was like, babe, what'd you do?
Yeah, he just scrolled, and I didn't even realize I had spent that much money. And as soon as he told me, I literally said, "I'm ashamed. Don't look at me. I am so ashamed."
I was like, why?
It was freaking Monopoly Go. Like, that isn't even worth anything. I
You
literally
bought a
wasted.
AAA game.
I literally wasted money. I could have used that to get like the new Skyrim or Baldur's Gate 3, like one of the games I've been waiting to play, but I used it on freaking Monopoly Go, all because of instant gratification.
I'm telling you, this society with instant gratification, it's not fun. We don't like it.
I fell for it so hard too.
But you want to hit another one of yours?
Oh yeah, I'll hit another one of mine. So we'll just kind of move up the chain in my work history. So, another job that I had, it was a summer job, between my freshman and sophomore years of college. I was back home and decided to get a job over the summer. So obviously, living in the Carolinas, I'm going to work at Carowinds. Okay. It was, honestly, it was a lot of fun because I was usually there for opens. And one of the things that I really liked about that job was whenever we would open in the mornings, I would just go and like take a walk through the park before everybody got there. And every morning they played "Oh Carolina" by Need to Breathe, which I love Need to Breathe. So it was really fun because I got to listen to them every morning.
Mm-hmm.
But I worked in admissions, so I was like taking tickets. And there were a couple of times I worked in the season pass booth, season pass booth. Which
you like
was
season the path?
No, shut up. But those days were really fun because I got to sit in the air conditioned office for those. But most of the time I was at the gate, and I usually ended up over in the water park gate. Now I'm gonna be honest, the water park gate really was not that bad. The water park gate was nice. It didn't have as much traffic coming through it because most people would just go through the main gate and then come through the water park, like through the park side instead of through the parking lot side. So it was pretty chill. My issue is whenever I would be over in the main gate because it was relentless. Every single day there was some kind of problem. The most common was people who would take pictures of tickets like on their phone. So what would happen is you would have one person come through and like scan their ticket because you could add your ticket to your Apple Wallet.
Yeah.
So you would have one person come through, scan their ticket, and get admission. Okay. But then a few people later, you would have someone come through, scan their ticket. This ticket's already been scanned. So I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it's not letting you in. It says the ticket's already been scanned. Have you already been here today? And they were like, no, I just got here. And I'm like, well, like if the ticket's already been scanned, I can't let you in. That means like someone else must use that ticket. Like, do you have another ticket with you? People would get so mad because I guess they just thought if they had a QR code for me to scan that I was just going to let them in. But I can't do that. I'm trying to do my job here.
Yeah.
But people were literally taking screenshots of like the same ticket and trying to get multiple people in on the same ticket, thinking that we're like dumb or whatever. And then there were the people who really were there earlier that day and tried to get re-entry, but they didn't get their hand stamped on the way out, so we couldn't let them back in. They got so mad at that too. But yep. I'm like, there are literally people who stand at the exits saying, "Are you coming back today? Get your hand stamped." and like even encouraging them, even if you don't think you're coming back today, go ahead and get your hand stamped in case you need to come back in the park, because you can't come back in without a stamp. There's signs everywhere, stamp required for re-entry, but people will leave and then try to come back without a stamp on their hand and get mad whenever we don't let them in. I'm like, dude, for real, like, come on, like let's be nice about this. But I'll never forget, there was this one time that I don't even really remember what happened. All I remember is that it was like one of those situations where someone was trying to get in and like their ticket had expired, it wasn't valid or something, it wasn't scanning. And so I tried to like manually type it in, wasn't working. And I was like, I'm so sorry it's not working. Like, you're just going to have to go to the customer service desk. And this man was having none of it. And I mean, he is like a full grown, like burly, like 6'2" man, like towering over me, and was just yelling at me, calling me every name in the book. And I was just sitting there staring at him like, is this really happening right now?
Yep. Full grown man throwing a
Because, I mean, it was close to the end of my shift. And this was one of the rare occasions where I was actually closing the park down. And so it's like he's yelling at me while like the Carowinds like singing people are singing like really trash versions of pop songs behind me.
Yep.
Like, you know, they're singing like Justin Timberlake Mirror, and he's yelling at me and the guy's singing off pitch, and so it's just like sensory overload, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. So I'm just staring at him, and I just kept saying over and over, I was like, go to the customer service desk, go to the customer service desk. So eventually the lead comes over and is like, what's going on here? And I was like, I told him he needs to go to the customer service desk. Like, I was so overloaded at this point. That was all I could say, was he needs to go to the customer service desk. I kept saying it over and over. But yeah, I will say that was probably one of the better jobs that I've had. But it was also like kind of awful because it was hot. I was sweaty, and I got a sunburn so bad that my skin started peeling like on my legs. And I literally had several children ask me what kind of skin disease I had. So that was really nice.
Just curious, did a mother come by and be like, this is what happens when you don't listen to your mother?
No, surprisingly not. But yeah, it wasn't terrible. And I will say one of the good things about it was that I got free entry into the park. So whenever my family would go, like, I just scanned my Carowinds ID and got in, and I got a discount on like all the candy and stuff. So on my days off, whenever my parents would want to go and like take Samuel or something, I was able to go for free, and I got us discounted food. So it really wasn't that bad. Also, they're like, I wouldn't call it cafeteria food because it really wasn't from a cafeteria. It was like a little like cafe style kind of thing that they had for employees, like in the back. Mm-hmm. And their food was bussin'. That was probably the best work food I've ever had. And it was so cheap too. And here's the dangerous part, is that there was like a Carowinds employee shop, and with the food, you could just scan your Carowinds ID and it would just take it off your paycheck. Like, you didn't have to pay them at that moment.
Oh, that's dangerous.
It was so dangerous. I bought so many clothes and I bought so much food, and then got mad whenever my paychecks were only like $500.
It's like, where's all my money? Oh.
I was like, oh, I already spent it before it even hit my hand. I spent it all.
Look, you're supposed to be getting money from them, not giving them money.
Well, in my defense, everything was super cheap. I think that's what gets me. It's the whole, like, they $5 me to death, because it's like,
everyone can find $5
in
the
Carowinds shop, like that really cute sweatshirt that I wanted that you can get in the park for like $50. It was only like $17. The rain jacket, $12. The extra shirts and t-shirts, the new name tag, the cute lanyards, they were all so cheap. So I bought them all at once and used my entire paycheck.
Sounds about right. Jesus. But, so on to one of mine. So this one, we're going to cell phone sales. I will not say for what company. I will just say it is not red, it is not purple. Or pink?
Pink.
Yeah,
pink.
that thing. Anyway, one of the big three, not the other two. But if you can't figure it out by now, then I'm sorry.
It's not red, it's not pink.
Yep. But anyway, so I just want to say, I'll preface with this. The job, it was okay, but the commissions were not great. I was our second best sales rep, and I technically only averaged $17.50 an hour between my hourly and commission. But they didn't take out enough taxes, because just in federal alone, with commission rates, you're supposed to take out 25% taxes on it. They only took out like 22% of taxes total on my check. So most time by the end of the year, me and one of the other guys would almost always owe money. And they only paid us like $12 an hour. Because they was like, we want you to sell. But I honestly feel like they didn't hold back enough taxes, because if they held back the correct amount of taxes, we wouldn't be able to afford to live.
Yeah.
And then everyone would quit.
Yeah.
Which this isn't really like related to customers for this part. They literally, so they would have us do these trainings on the computer or whatever, like at the beginning of every month, which is ridiculous, because they was like, we have to have these done within the first 7 or 10 days of the month. In the first 4 days, you have all these people coming in and paying their bills because the old people got their check.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we cannot be doing this and having the most high volume of customers that I could possibly upsell something to that they can't afford.
Yeah.
Which, that was other part of it. But anyway, on one of the trainings, so we was actually a third party. We wasn't the official company. Even underneath the sign it said authorized retailer, authorized dealer, or authorized retailer, something like that. But on one of the trainings, it literally said, we have had a turnover of 40% within 90 days of employees.
Which is bonkers.
And they was like, how can we improve this? What? No, like, how can we as the employees improve this? Like, talking to me. I was like, what do I care?
It's like, please don't quit. Help our conversion rates.
And I'm like, if everyone quits, I get more commission.
Yeah, fair.
I was like, which I would never do this. Part of me in my head was like, I don't care. I'll run everyone out of this store. And it'll be me and my manager. And my buddy named Robert.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, you can't run
If Robert left, we would all quit.
Yeah.
Except for the other guy.
Yeah.
But honestly, Robert held that store together. He was not the manager. He was just cool.
He's just the glue.
He is the glue. But you had that. But that's a representation of how weird this company was. But I remember we had a customer walk into the store, and she wanted to see watches, Apple watches.
This story is so good.
Well, so for whatever reason, we did not have an Apple Watch display. Like, we had the boxes in the safe and stuff like that, but we did not have an Apple Watch display. We did have a display for the Galaxy watches for God knows what reason.
Do you want to just like reenact this for a second? I'll be the lady, you be you.
No, it's more fun to tell it.
Oh, come on.
Okay,
I wanted to scream.
You'll peek the thing.
I won't scream that loud.
Okay, fine. Hey, how you doing today?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. What can we help you with?
I want to look at your Apple Watches.
So we do not have any Apple Watches at the current moment, unfortunately, that we can show you. We have the boxes, but I cannot open the box to show you.
So you can't show me any Apple Watches?
I cannot. I can show you this on my wrist.
No, that's not good enough. You don't have any Apple Watches to display. I'm going to call OSHA.
OSHA?
OSHA.
Yeah, that's as far as I know how to take that. But literally, what? I've literally had a woman say, yes, we will call OSHA. And I was like, which, to be fair, I didn't even, because actually I think my manager was talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was about to pull up my wrist and show my Apple Watch. But she went on that entire rant, so I just put my shirt back down.
Yeah.
I was like,
well, I'm
nope.
like, literally, you walk into a store and they don't have a display, which is obviously not the employee's fault.
I mean,
just
granted,
gonna say,
we don't like it either. Because I'd rather show you an actual watch than the one on my wrist.
Yeah. But then just to say, I'm gonna call OSHA. Like,
one, that's hilarious. Two, do you even know what OSHA does? They handle employee safety. Not that you have a watch.
yeah, for real.
I think she also said something about calling the Better Business Bureau. But
are you guys even under the Better Business Bureau?
The company itself would be, but that's not an issue.
Yeah.
Because like at that point, we're not false advertising anything.
Yeah.
We're just, if we don't have it, we don't have it.
That's fair.
So OSHA and Better Business Bureau could not even do anything in that situation anyway. But there was one other story. So I'll preface with this. So we're in the South. Well, the place we're in, a bunch of people from the higher income areas like California and New York are coming down here.
Mm-hmm.
One, I hate it.
Mm-hmm.
With a fiery passion within my soul.
I'm like, we already can't afford our houses, and now y'all coming down here.
They made it worse. I can tell you now, they made it worse. But anyway, so they come down here. Well, so you have the South mentality talking to the Northern mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Those two clash like lightning. So, because this was actually when you was in the store.
Yeah.
So I was closing up, or about to close up, I think, because we closed at 8. I want to say it was 7:45.
No, it was later than that. Like it was like 10 minutes till close.
Yeah. So either way, and I think I already met my quota that month.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I could never not get another sale this month and just chill, because that's what I do. Which my manager hated that because
the bare minimum.
he was like, you hit your 100% commission. Everything from here on is profit. I was like, my bills are paid. I'm good. I was like, I'm not busting my butt for another $60. Sorry, bud. But so we had this guy come in, and he was clearly from the north. I don't want to say probably like, he sounded like he came from New Jersey.
Yeah, he did sound a little Jersey.
So he came in, and he literally came in, and first words out of his mouth was, No, I said, hey, what can we do for you? He said, TV and internet. And I just looked, I was like, excuse me? He said, TV and internet. I said, okay, what about them?
And then he goes, you said, what can I do for you? I want you to tell me about TV and internet. And I was sitting there in the corner like, I know this man ain't talking to my mans like that.
Which, don't worry, she didn't get involved.
No, I didn't. It probably would have been bad if I did.
But not just, because I think I looked at him and said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. Because I was like, you're either going to communicate or get out.
Yeah.
So I said, okay, now we're getting somewhere. So I think I pulled up internet first.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I pulled up his address, and our county is terrible for internet. Like ridiculous.
No, like there's hardly any internet anywhere.
I want to say I pulled it up and it said he can get 10 meg.
Yeah.
10 megabits a second down. That's nothing. For anyone that is not techie, I'll say this. 10 megabits is probably either a quarter to an eighth of your cell phone's download speed on cellular. It's bad.
Yeah.
Like that's maybe enough to stream one TV of Hulu or whatever. You can't stream 2 TVs off of that.
Yeah.
That ain't gonna work.
And definitely not in HD either.
No. Which, because we have to have like 200.
Yeah.
Which we could probably do with 100. But anyway, I told him that, and he said, "That's the best you can offer?" I was like, "That's what it says." Like, it pulls up the highest that it says. It says no.
Yeah.
But he was pissed and walked out, and I was like, "Cool, I can close up now." But I'm like, what gives these customers the audacity that they have?
And then my favorite part is that Elijah's all aggravated at the interaction or whatever. And he's he starts locking everything up and stomping around, and I'm going out of the store so he can lock everything up, and he says, "Man, what does this man want me to do? Like get my own bucket truck and go install some internet over there?"
That's what some people expect. I'm just like, you know what? I'll be right back. I want to go get my bucket truck. I want to go install this fiber line real quick. Hang on. And just crank up my bucket truck out back.
It was so funny. He was so aggravated and like mumbling under his breath, and I was just giggling because he was so funny.
Because what do these people want? But what's really funny is when you would have the people that come down from like California and stuff, because California, they have fiber everywhere.
Yeah,
which they take an insane amount of taxes out of your money, so they have the infrastructure to do that.
Yeah.
So you got people coming from California over to here, and there's been times people have bought a house, and it was hilarious because like fully bought the house, closed on the house, and everything, and they came in and was like, "Hey, we need to get internet set up at the house." I was like, "Okay, cool. I'll pull it up." Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing. I think it said they can get like satellite internet. Sometimes it didn't even show that. And they would go, "What do you mean it says nothing?" I was like, "It literally says no internet is available." And they're like, "But internet's available everywhere." I was like, "Not here, it ain't."
Not in this county.
Not around here. And I've literally, because they was like, "I literally came from fiber. What am I supposed to do?" I'm like, "I don't know." Because I think some of them had even went to like some other competitors beforehand.
Yeah.
And they could do nothing. Now, in some cases, if they were first responders, we could get them like a hotspot. But if they weren't first responders, they were just out of luck.
Yeah, which is so unfortunate. Like, can you imagine like being used to fiber internet and then getting told that you can't have any internet at all?
Yeah, that would suck. Which since I have lived here all my life, fun fact. So the trailer park that we're in, that I put our trailer in, there was 2 spots available. I checked both spots for internet before I moved the trailer.
And here's the thing.
One of the spots did not have internet.
Here's the thing is that I wanted the other spot because the other spot was backed up against the forest. And
I wanted the other spot too.
I was like, it would be so good to have the dogs out back. They would be like against the tree line. They wouldn't be out in the open. Like they would just kind of have like their own little space. We could put little like fenced in area back there for them. That kind of thing. I was real excited about it. But the second he checked it, that trailer spot that we wanted didn't have internet. And he said, "Well, we're getting the one up the road."
Yep, because
we literally picked our location based off of
could we get internet? Which I'm a techie. I can't go without internet.
No, I
Which,
couldn't
to be
either.
fair, I've done that. I went without internet majority of my life.
Yeah.
So I was like, I will never do it again.
I at least had dial up.
Which we had, I want to say like there was a time we had HughesNet, but you know how well that goes.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. But Oh, there was one other. Which this one was my manager. So we had a lady come in, and I think she was like a dog breeder.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
oh, I know what story you're talking about now.
So she came in with this dog, and I didn't know she had a dog at the time because the way it's set up, like our counters are like towards the back of the store, and like she comes in through the front. Well, the way the counters were, I was at the desk over to the side, so I couldn't really see. I just kind of like seen a figure. So I invited her over and everything. Well, she came by, and I guess my manager or something wasn't paying attention, and her dog came around, and he said, "Oh, rat!" Because it was like a tiny, tiny dog. But it was an old lady, and this lady looked so offended because he called her dog a rat. Like she was like fully had panties in a bunch for like 5 minutes because of that.
But didn't you also say that like her dog was like really tiny and also like really scruffy looking, like
yes.
a kind of rough looking dog? Like it wasn't a cute tiny dog. Like it was
like, almost like some kind of like terrier or something, I think.
It was some kind of gremlin looking dog.
It looked like a much smaller version of Charlie.
Oh yeah. If Charlie were really tiny going across the floor, I'd probably think it was like a rat or a guinea pig too.
Yeah, but it was hilarious because she was like, "This is a purebred." And I was like, "So what?" It's a purebred rat.
I still can't believe he said, "Oh, a rat."
It was and he apologized. She wasn't having it.
Oh.
It was hilarious. But because she came in with some kind of issue that we couldn't even fix. Because that's the other thing, being a third party, there was a lot of things we couldn't do, and they just would not take no for an answer. I was like, you can call customer service, and they try to call customer service in the store.
Especially because living in a small town, it's like if you couldn't get the help you needed at your store, like you would have to drive to like Spartanburg or Greenville or
basically it's an hour
Gastonia,
drive.
Like
it's anywhere from an hour to 2 hour drive
yeah.
to get to like an actual full retail store or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was not fun. Oh, do you want to tell one of your Starbucks ones?
Oh, geez. There's so many. I mean, whenever it comes to food beverage, I feel like that's where you get the worst customer service experiences.
And Starbucks is the people that feel like they're bougie, but they're really not bougie, but they act bougie, even though they're... I don't even know where to go with that.
Yeah. No.
It's almost like bougie meets no money.
Yeah. Well, like, there was always like those little experiences where it was like, my drink isn't hot enough, or
even though it's scolding.
Like the syrup got stuck to the side of my cup. Why didn't you stir it in? Like, just like random stuff like that. And you're like, okay, come on now. Like it takes 2 seconds to grab a stir stick and fix it yourself. Like,
we're like, do you not see we have 15 drinks lined up?
Literally, like, because we're expected to like go through such a high volume of orders a day. Like, there's no way that we can.
Yeah, and half the time this would happen, y'all had like cars literally backed into the road.
Yeah. I mean, pretty constantly we had cars like lined out to the road. It was it was actually kind of a hazard too. Like, we had people coming in that were like, "Hey, do you guys think you can get like a police officer to come and direct traffic?" Just because it was so bad because they were blocking the road.
So I'll cut you off for just a second.
Uh-huh.
You want to talk about a hazard? So we're small town friendly, right? The day we got a Chick-fil-A.
Oh my gosh. It was madness.
We had they put it near one of our shopping plazas or whatever. And like basically the Walmart. So you didn't have to like the Plaza Walmart subway and all that. Well, it was like kind of like off in a little corner was where they put it. Well, they the way they when they first opened, they literally had a line that went like up and around, blocked our AT&T parking lot, then went to the left, down, and then back down the road towards the stoplight. It was probably almost probably a mile and a half line.
Yeah.
We're talking here.
Because they routed it the long way around to try to avoid blocking the highway. Because if you're turning right off the highway to get there like the quickest way, it's like you turn left and then you turn left again. So it's like a very quick turnaround. And if you have a line of people, that means you're going to have people lined down the highway trying to get into this Chick-fil-A. So they made it where you went the stoplight before and went all the way around the world to get into the Chick-fil-A parking lot in hopes that they weren't going to be blocking the highway. Newsflash, they were still lined out to the highway.
It was insanity.
Like people were waiting to turn left just so they could go like half a mile down this road, turn right half a mile down this road, and then turn right and then turn left into the parking lot. And like literally it was a mile long. Like no exaggeration, at least a mile long.
It was insanity, but it was also hilarious. But it did affect our sales that day. I don't think I got a single sale that day. Yeah, but that was a horrible, horrible day. And Starbucks is almost no different, especially probably the first day it opened, I would imagine.
Yeah, which I wasn't there the day it opened, thank God.
You would have died.
I think I started there. When did I start there?
It was probably a year after it opened.
No, because I remember it
months.
opened. Yeah, it opened in August, and I remember my first day there was like the 1st of February.
Yeah, because like right after we got married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember because the store manager actually called me while we were on our honeymoon to set up my work schedule, which was really nice because I was already working at a Starbucks where I lived.
Yeah.
Had been working there almost a year at that point, and then transferred to the one in our town now. So like I didn't even have to do like an interview process or anything. Like they just submitted my transfer. And I was a barista trainer too. So one of my favorite stories to tell about Starbucks is how my first day at my new store I was training a new person. So I literally walked in and I said, "Hey, my name's Tina. Today's your first day?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Good, it's mine too. Let's get you trained." It was pretty funny. But now that girl that I trained that day, like we're actually really good friends and I love her so much. You know who you are. I love you. But yeah, honestly, like Starbucks was one of those jobs that I really did have the time of my life working there. Like it was so much fun, but it was also so draining. Like it was absolutely draining because you were like constantly moving, constantly on your feet, like always something going on, especially whenever it was really busy. Like there was no room for stopping. There was no break. Like
nope.
It was nothing. And then like especially like as a supervisor, whenever you're in those situations, not being able to have a break, but then on top of that, you also have everyone saying, "Tina, what do I do? Tina, do I need to do this? Tina, what do you want me to do? Tina, where do you want me to be? Where am I going to be at? What do you want me to do? Tina, how do I fix this? Tina, how do I was like, oh, if one more person calls my name, I'm going to fall on the floor. I'm just going to fall on the floor and hope the earth swallows me whole. Because it was bonkers.
The earth did not swallow her whole.
No, it did not. But one of the most like unforgettable experiences that I ever had, and this is probably the worst breakdown I ever had at the job. So it was a Saturday, busiest day of the week for us.
Hated Saturdays.
And I mean, it was the middle of morning peak. We're slam busy. Line is out to the road. Like line in person is out the door. Like our parking lot is full. There are cars like parked on the side of the street and like walking in trying to get drinks. absolutely crazy. We're super backed up. I mean, I'm pretty sure our ticket times were like 15 minutes behind at this point. Like, they were terrible. And I had just gotten there, okay? I'd just gotten there. And the shift who was on duty at that time told me to go to Cold Bar. And I was like, okay. So I go to Cold Bar, making frappuccinos, refreshers, that kind of thing. And she told me, she was like, drive-thru's been waiting on this drink for a minute, so I need you to pull the stickers until you get to the drive-thru drink. And then, like, let's get the drive-thru drinks out the window, and then you can make the cafe drinks. And I was like, okay. And so, and I had another person who was helping me make the cafe drinks and everything. So we were still making the cafe drinks. They weren't getting ignored, but I was putting my focus on the drive-thru drinks because that's like the big deal. Like, life hack for anyone who ever goes to like fast food restaurants in general, but especially Starbucks. If you want faster service, always go through the drive-thru. Like, we will cater to the drive-thru because that's what the company tells us. We have to have faster out the window times, and like the drive-thru line we have to keep the drive-thru line down.
Yeah, because
like
what corporate thinks is if you're in the cafe, you're in there to sit down. Is what corporate thinks.
Yeah, well, like we don't. I mean, like we still want to get like their orders in a timely manner, but like we're gonna put our focus in drive-thru most of the time. Especially during peak, whenever it's super busy, you want that drive-thru line moving. So, like, I'm trying to get all these drive-thru drinks out because they've already been at the window for like 2-3 minutes, which is like terrible. Like, you want them under 50 seconds, and it's at like 3 minutes. That is like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, you getting yelled at for that. So, I'm working on these drinks. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, because I had taken the cafe stickers and put them on cups, but I'd like sat them like to the side in the order that they came out of the printer. That way I would know what order to make them in. But I'm pulling the stickers, putting it on a cup and sitting it in the queue and just kind of doing that until I get the drive-thru drinks out. So I finally get the drive-thru drinks. I'm making these frappuccinos. And I'm handing them to the drive-thru person to hand them out the window. And I'm finally starting to get a rhythm. I mean, like I had just gotten on Cold Bar. I'd maybe been there like 3 minutes and already cranking out like 5 or more drinks. Like, I was cranking them out because we were so busy. And then all of a sudden this man like comes up right here. And like, I didn't even notice that he was there until he was right here, and he grabs the drink that has his name on it and says, "You are not to make any other drink, and so you make that one right there," and slams it on the counter in front of me. Says, "You are not to make any other drink, and so you make that one right there. I've been waiting for 20 minutes for this drink." Like, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Like, yelling, straight fussing. And I'm staring at him and I'm like, "Sir, I'm going to need you to step back from behind this counter. Like, I will get to your drink. I promise." And I literally told him, I was like, "We are very busy right now. And I understand that it's frustrating to have to wait, but I am working as fast as I humanly can. And I promise I will get your drink." And because his drink wasn't even the next in line. Like, that's the crazy, like his drink was like 4 or 5 orders down. And I looked at his sticker because he's over here yelling about how he's been waiting 20-30 minutes on his drink, and I look at his sticker and he put in his order 5 minutes ago, which I understand for fast food, like 5 minutes can be a long time for some people, but that ain't
20.
That ain't 20 minutes. Like, it was crazy. And because like that's the thing, is like I understand being upset that you have to wait, but like there's a way to go about it. Like, you can, like, I much more appreciate like the people who are like, "Hey, like I kind of have like places to be. Like, can you give me an estimated time of when my drink's going to be ready so I can like let someone know?" Like, people who were like that, like I was fine with that. But it's the people who are like demanding that their drink be made right that minute that were like,
even though there's literally people in front of you.
Yes, like it, because I'm like, dude, the world doesn't revolve around you. Like I have 20 million other things to do. I've only been on this bar for 5 minutes, and like you already fussing at me about your drink. Like, can you not? Like, you've been here for 20 minutes. You can see that I just got here. So it like that was bonkers. And so one of my coworkers ended up taking his, because I was livid, ended up taking his drink from me and making it and giving it to him. And then I went to the back and I told, like, our assistant store manager was back there at the time. And she was like, the next time someone steps behind the counter, like, literally just tell them to leave. They were like, if you're gonna be threatened like that, like, that's not safe for anybody. And it's like, one thing that Starbucks is like really big about is like partner and customer like safety. Like, we want like the customers to feel safe, we want our partners to feel safe, and like our like saying is like, this is the third place, which, you know, like, many people have like talked about this like in the service industry, but it's like your home is your first place, work is your second place, and then like
there's
places,
third place
there's supposed to be a third place you can go. And so Starbucks tries to be that third place for people. And so that's one of the things, like, if you're disrupting the third place, then that is like grounds enough for us to be like, we're not going to serve you today. And so she was like, the next time anybody like steps behind the counter or like threatens you, like saying, you know, like, you got to make this drink next or else, you know, like anything like that, she was like, we're just gonna refund them and tell them to have a nice day. And I was like, okay. Which luckily it never happened again like that. But there were several instances, and like there were even like so many times of like, because that's another thing is like Starbucks is very like diverse, like diversity minded, very inclusive. It's like an equal opportunity employer. And you know, they're very like, they're known to be very open about their support of like the LGBTQ plus community. But back to all we've been saying this entire time, we live in a very small town, very, very conservative, small-minded people. So we had several instances of our like LGBT partners getting like belittled and like called names and stuff, because it's very obvious that they're queer, and people were like very rude about that. Which, I mean, like, believe what you want to believe. I have my beliefs about it. Like, I get it, but you can't be rude to people about it. Like, you know, that's what got me. I'm like, we can't be being rude. God, it made me so aggravated.
Which, and I can say this too, as a husband of a service worker, I guess, whatever. It aggravates me too, because then I'm like, because there's been times like you have literally called me like basically in tears, and I'm ready to, like, I was at just down the road, and I was like, I will literally take my manager's car and come over there if you need me to.
Yeah. Well, it was just because it was so draining. And like whenever, because it's like already bad enough, you're dealing with people all day. So my social battery is already like depleting.
We don't
like,
have a very big social battery.
Like, you know, as the minutes go by. But then on top of that, you have to deal with rude people. And there was even one time whenever this one dude was racist to one of the girls at the window. That just made me extra mad. He literally said that thing got my order wrong. Called her a thing.
Yeah.
It made me so mad.
There's a reason I couldn't work there.
Yeah, no, like it was crazy.
Because you're at least better at keeping your mouth shut than me. I didn't do very well. Because like even at AT&T, because I remember my last week or whatever at AT&T. Because whenever I got the plant job, it was actually funny because I put in my 2 weeks notice, and then I said, hey, what if I just leave on like Friday? And then it came, what if I just leave on Monday?
Yeah.
Like my time just shrank.
Yeah, well, because then it was like, because wasn't it it was really close to the turnover of the month, and like if you were there for the following month, it would make the sales look really bad.
Yeah, it was something with that, and then it turned into something else, and then I was just like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
But I don't know, we had a customer that just was being irate and irritating, and because he said something demeaning. I can't even remember what it was. I just know I was kind of seeing red at that point.
Yeah.
And my manager was like, just go get him the phone. We'll just get him out of the store, whatever. So I went to go go to the safe to get the phone, and I remember him going, "Yeah, that's right, because y'all can't not sell me a phone." And I remember I whipped around so fast, and my manager stared dead at me and was like, "No, no, 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 no." I was like, because he knew what was about to come out of my mouth.
Yeah. Well, it's like at that point, I almost kind of wish that he would have been like, "No, we're not going to sell you a phone."
I think customer service has caused us both panic attacks.
Yeah. God, I'll never forget that one time I had to call you from the bathroom so you could call.
Yeah, I literally had to call Starbucks for her to get someone to take her a water because she was having a panic attack.
Yeah, it was terrible. But my sweet friend, I don't want to say their name because I don't want to dox anybody, but my friend who was also working there, was the shift supervisor at the time, came and sat in the bathroom with me and like helped me calm down, like made me breathe. And like I always remembered that. Like that was kind of like how I was like, "Oh, this is my people."
Yeah, which honestly, here's the bad thing. This is why fast food places are so close with employees. You trauma bond.
You trauma bond with
That's
each
what
other.
it is. That's all it is.
For real what it is.
It's a trauma bond.
Well, because I mean, like, I mean, you guys can ask Elijah. Like, I still hang out with some of the people that I worked with at Starbucks sometimes, and I'm not like that with anybody else that I've ever worked with at any other job.
More of your Starbucks people came to our wedding than your regular people.
That is also true.
So, yeah, but it was nice.
But it's like I still talk to them. I still go hang out with them sometimes. But it's just like we have those like common shared experiences, and then it's like in that bonding, then you just open up. And so I mean, I feel like most of the people at Starbucks know way more about me than they probably should.
Yeah, they do. I also know way more about them than I should.
Yeah, definitely overshared, but that's okay.
Hey, it's fine. So, basic gist of this entire episode. Please be nice to these service workers.
Yes, please.
Because most of them can barely afford rent.
And we're humans too.
And humans make mistakes, and it's okay. We're all at the hands of the big corporations in most cases.
Mm-hmm.
So just be kind to everyone. We don't need more panic attacks in this world than we have to have.
Yeah, no more panic attacks, please.
But anyway, I think that's all we got for this episode. So like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Bye.